Hello everybody and welcome to a very special episode of How to Punish. Today we're looking at Nightwolf. For those that follow my stream for longer than 8 seconds will know that I've been extremely excited about this character coming out. And I've been playing him for about a day now and he seems really fun. Yeah, he's got a lot of really good confirms, but he is very punishable if you know what you're looking out for. Obviously he's got new character syndrome at the moment, which means that nobody really knows what to do against him, but that's what I'm going to show you. That's the whole point in this video. So without further ado, let's go into his normals. So, standing 1, 7 frames. Oh, by the way, both of his specs are really good, so we're going to go through both specs. You know how usually I say, oh, so-and-so spec sucks. And we're probably going to have to go back and revisit some of the other characters too, like Devora, for example, because now both of her variations are viable. I didn't do the other variation in the video, but I'll deal with that another time. For now, we'll deal with Nightwolf. So these are all the moves that are, these normal moves are ones that are viable and are usable in both specs. You've got standing 1. Yeah, I'm gonna try. I mean, I think I've played him long enough now, Doom Guy, that I've got an idea of how best to punish him. Standing 1, 7 frames, which is really good, -1. Back 1. That's a starter for a string, -5, 17 frames. Towards 1. So forward 1, be careful of forward 1 because it's quite far advancing and the string itself can be used for whiff punishing. So it's -7 on block. So it's basically safe, but just be very careful if you see him whiffing from... Now you can make me laugh. I mean, I'm saying it, they can see the chat in the YouTube, so... they'll see I'm not just laughing out of madness. But yeah, this is safe, -7 as well. So forward 1 is safe. Down 1 is 7 as well, -4, that's safe. Standing 2 is a high, so you can duck it. -4. Back 2 is this is a launcher, so you might see him try and do this from mid-screen, especially in the Ancestral Spirit spec. I think it's called Ancestral Spirit. I haven't actually played it. Ancestral Gift. Ancestral Gift's a command grab spec, so this is the only launcher you have in that spec, but it's -15, so make sure you punish. It's a mid, so you can't duck it, but make sure you punish the crap out of it. Forward 2 is an overhead. This is Nightwolf's overhead starter. -19. This is more minus than Scarlet's, and he can't confirm after it either. Oh, he can now. Okay, so that was bugged yesterday, because yesterday he couldn't. That's weird. So he can confirm after it, so be careful. But so he can make it safe. But yeah, super duper punish. If he tries to just do that on you, it's super punishable. So just be careful. That's forward 2, -24 frame startup, -19. So be careful of that. Papa, please. Down 2 is his uppercut. Careful of his uppercut too. You see, he's got really good range on his uppercuts. So try not to jump in if you can avoid it, unless you're Devora, and then you can just jump in from full screen. Heartbreaker, standing 3 is a high, +1. Back 3 is an 11 frame mid. This is one of his main combo starters. -3, it's safe. Wow, it's not been that long since I've done one. Then you've got down 3. Down 3's got a lot of ranges. Very similar to Shang Tsung's, I guess, in the sense he pokes his little foot out like that. 8 frames start up, and it's -6 on block, so he's safe. Standing 4, this is mostly used as a combo extender. +1, which is a high. Back 4 is a low, -4. And then down 4, also pretty good. Not massive range, but 9 frames is good, and -5. So you can see, apart from his back 2 and his forward 2, which are both massively unsafe, all of his main normal attacks are safe. So just be very wary when you're counter poking against him, because bloody hell, sorry, I think a spaceship just went past my window and scared the heck out of me. Yeah, very safe on all of his normals, so be careful when you're pressing buttons against him. Just to let you know as well, he has crushing blows on both of his throws, so be careful if you're failing an escape on one of his throws, because he's gonna try and get you with the other one and do massive damage. Both do 310 damage if they hit. So, go through his strings. He's got a lot of strings. A lot of them are unsafe. So these are his strings in Makota Warrior, which is the launcher variation. because he gets a couple of extra ones in Ancestral Gift, but we'll go through those when we get to Ancestral Gift. 1-1, safe. 1-1-1, safe. This is high, mid, mid. So the first hit is a high, so be careful. You can probably, well, you can definitely down to it if he's just poking it out. But yeah, both strings are safe. -5 and -6, I think that was. Yep. 1-1-2. So this is an overhead, but it's +1 on block, and you have to block last hit high. But as you can see, I'm gonna do this now because it's easier than me missing the flawless block the whole time. There is a flawless block gap, so you can see the gap at the end there. Flawless block. You can flawless block the 2 if you get the read, but be careful though, because obviously you have to read that he's going to go for the overhead to get the flawless block, and if he doesn't, you're going to get hit with 1-1-1 into a hit confirm, and there's no gaps in the 1-1-1, so be careful. Back 1-2 is mid low, which is -5. And then there's another big gap there. So that's part of his stagger game, I guess. He'll go for mid and low, which is safe. Then go for it again. You try to press a button afterwards, and then you get flawless blocked. Then you get hit with the shoulder charge, sorry. So, but that is flawless blockable as well, as you can see. Their shoulder charges. But it's -3 otherwise, so it is safe. You got forward 1-2. This is what I was telling you about before. This is his main whiff punish string. -7, so that's safe, but he can commit to it with this double-handed axe swipe, which doesn't have a gap, but is -13. So if he finishes off that string with that double axe swipe move, August, please, I almost turned around as well. That's super unsafe, so make sure you punish that. 2-2. -6, starts off with a high, so normal high rules apply. Then 2-2-2, that is -6, and it's also safe. 4-2-1. Oh, you have to commit to the string. Why is it not safe now? Oh, because he's flawless blocking it. So if he flawless blocked the 2, he can't continue the rest of the string. That's interesting to know. So there's no gap in the string if you don't flawless block it. But let's take off flawless block then for the sake of the exercise. So that's why I said earlier on, I was like, you can't finish it. So you can't finish it if you flawless block the overhead. That's interesting. So if you flawless block his overhead, he can't make it safe. So maybe that's a good trick against him. But if you don't make it safe, forward 2-1 is -9, so that's unsafe. But he can make it safe by doing forward 2-1-4, which I will put up on the screen at the moment. Well, he has 2 enders for it actually. So he's got forward 2-1-4, which is safe. But he's also got forward 2-1-2, forward 2-1-2-1, which is -14. So this is super unsafe. So if he finishes off the string with this like clubbing attack, -14, unsafe, make sure you full punish. 1-3, -3, but both of these hits of this, so standing 3 is this, +1, and then the one afterwards is -3, so be very careful, because those are both high. So you can poke him in between that, or you can down to him, or whatever it is you do against high attacks. However, you have to be careful, because the last hit is an overhead. There is a gap, you can flawless spot that, I'll show you. You see, there is a gap on the overhead, so be very careful. You can actually interrupt that with a normal move. So if you just poke out a button, you can interrupt that, but there's a massive gap in the overhead, so be careful, because also if you don't block it and he hits you with just the last hit, he pops you up and gets a full combo crushing blow. So be very careful with this string specifically, because it has an overhead attached. So overheads you have to block high, obviously, and if you do get hit by it and a counter hit, just that in the string, he gets a crushing blow. So be careful. Then lastly, he's got back 3-1. So this is 11 frame starter. So this is his main mid hit confirm, I would say, other than forward 3, which is 13 frames. Why did it not block? Oh, stance. But it is super unsafe. So back 3-4, minus 14, super duper unsafe. Nobody's punishing that online at the combo. Yeah, high highs. You wouldn't use it. You wouldn't use it in neutral at all. The only time that I think you'd ever use it is if you're going to do it on wake up. So as they're getting up, you just hit them with the 2 and then get the juggle. Because if you wouldn't do down 1 into it, because it doesn't jail. And you can't do down 3 into it because down 3 pushes them far enough away that the 1 doesn't connect. So, yeah, you'd literally only use... Yeah, it's exactly the same as Shang's back 1-2. Only back 1 is a mid, I think. So, that's a bit more practical. Whereas this is 2 highs. So, in this game where the down poke game is so prevalent... Yeah, it's a bit trickier to hit. But like I said, it's highs, so this is for punish guide. So if you see him going for this string, both are high, block the last hit low. And then yeah, finally, back 3-4. The 4 is minus 14, super punishable. But he can do the sweep. There's no gap there. And that makes it safe at minus 7. So those are his his default strings. As you can see, a lot of them are safe. So you have to be careful. When they're not safe, there's only a couple of gaps, really. That's a gap. And that's a gap, and this is a gap. So for the most part, he's pretty safe. So if his stagger game, which I found out is pretty strong, because you know, especially with his good down 3 and down 1, and hit confirming into stuff is pretty straightforward as well. So yeah, be very careful of his strings. Just make sure that when he does finish them, you're not pressing, but you don't let him get away with unsafe pressure, because it is definitely he's not safe enough on any of these that he can steal a turn. So make sure you do challenge it if you want to, but also yeah, be wary. There's a couple of sneaky overheads in here that will definitely catch you out if you're not aware of the strings. And lastly, special moves. He's got a few special moves. We'll go through the ones that are standard for both. So he's got the bow and arrow, which is obviously unsafe. It's variable projectiles. He won't be doing projectiles at you from this far away. But the first hit is a high. He can amplify it, which makes 3 hits, which makes high, mid, high. So be careful when you're ducking. Obviously you can duck the first hit, but if you try and duck all 3, you'll get hit by the mid, and then you'll get hit by the high. So you'll get hit by the last 2 hits. So be careful when you're ducking it. And he can cancel it as well, at the cost of a bar. Also, if he tries any of this sort of shenanigans, like cancelling into bow and arrow on block, it's super minus. You see it's minus 16, and it can go up to minus 25. So bow and arrow cancelling in your face is never safe. So yeah, be wary of that little gimmick. Reflector, as you can see, he shows you his manly chest, and this reflects projectiles. So you have to be careful if you know that your character's move is or isn't a projectile. So say if you play Garrus, none of his projectiles count as projectiles, so he can't reflect any of Garrus's stuff. So if you play Garrus, make sure that you get him with a sand trap or with a time stop, or whatever you want to get him with. Otherwise, if it's considered a projectile, he will either negate it or reflect it back at you. So be very careful. But obviously he can hold it. So in this variation, which is the Makota warrior spec, he can just hold it. That's the only thing he can do. He can just press it, or he can hold it. So be careful. Just to let you know as well, he can only reflect the first hit. So if we record Devora doing... So you'll see, I can reflect the first hit, but then the second hit hits me. So it doesn't go in long enough for me to duck. It's not quick enough for me to duck the first hit and reflect the second hit. So you just have to be very careful. Yeah. So yeah, be careful if you're playing against Nightwolf and he's trying to reflect your stuff. If you've got a 2-hitting projectile like Cassie's guns, the standard guns, or Sonya's onion rings, yeah, he can easy goal. How you doing, man? Yeah, he can reflect both ground pounds. He can reflect Jax's ground pound, and he can reflect Cetrion's ground pound. So that's what I mean. Be careful about what your character can do, because he may or may not be able to reflect it. So it's better to go into practice mode. Or there's a guy called Rufflemonger who has just done a video on all of the projectiles that can be reflected. So maybe check that video out for if your character gets reflected or not. But yeah, just be very careful of that if you are a projectile-based character, because most of them can do. But obviously, it's super unsafe as well. So 15 frames of recovery. That's essentially minus 15. So minus 20 if he cancels into it as well. So, you know, very unsafe. And then lastly, he's got Rhino Charge. Well, I say lastly. Lastly, as a normal variation move, he's got Rhino Charge. So this is just a very fast 12 frame shoulder tackle, minus 16 on block. So this will just be a reversal punish if you do like Garrus Sand Trap, or you know, something from a reasonable distance away. He can do a quick reversal punish and get you. So be careful with that. But also, the tricky part of this variation, of this move is, if we go to stance on, I think it's stance on. Hold on. How do we get just to block the first hit? Is it stance? I don't know how to do that. I'm not going to start faffing. But basically, the actually, I know what to do. Stance. Duck. So, as you can see, minus 16, super unsafe. But he can amplify it. And the second part is an overhead, and he gets a crushing blow. So, the second part is an overhead. You have to block it high, and he can amplify it on block, as you can see. So be very careful if you think about pressing a button. Because he can amplify it on block at will. So you can delay it a little bit as well, as you can see. You can delay it by quite a lot, actually. So you have to block that high. So if he catches you out, so if you try and press a button, or you're blocking low, as I said, and he gets the crushing blow, be careful, because then he gets a jump in, and he can actually combo, get a full jump in combo after he gets you with the crushing blow here. So just be very, very careful. If he amplifies the axe, I mean, I usually do dash up too, because I always miss the jump in, but yeah, be very, very careful of the overhead at the end of the Rhino Charge. If you do block it, you'll see it's super unsafe, minus 13. So I would suggest stand blocking. I would suggest stand blocking a lot against Nightwolf, to be honest with you, because he doesn't have any low starters. So he's got lows in his strings, like back 1-3 is a low, back 3-4 is a low. But for the most part, you need to be looking out for the overhead, and you need to be looking out for the Rhino Charge. The Rhino Charge overhead too. So definitely tend to block high against Nightwolf more often than not. So yeah, so those are his 3 normal moves. Then we'll look at the moves in the Makota Warrior variation, which are Spirit of Kiba and Rising Tomahawk. So, Spirit of Kiba is a damage buff. So the way that this works is, as you can see, normal throws do 140 damage. If he does a normal Spirit of Kiba, it jumps to 160, so it does 20 more damage. And he can actually amplify Spirit of Kiba as well, and it goes up to 175 damage. So be very careful. If he amplifies the buff, he ends up doing a lot more damage. Also, another mechanic of the buff you have to be very careful of is it actually has armor when he meter burns it. So what this means is, what you would do is, AI options. Quick strike. So you'd knock them down after you switch off block. Oh, come on, man. I get up attack. So you knock them down. Can you see? It actually absorbs the get up attack. So be very, very careful. There's like, sometimes they do setups where they'll do something like into, let me see if I can get it. And then did you see? It actually ate the projectile. It ate the wake up. So be very careful on your wake up, because he can cancel into stuff. He can cancel into it from strings that knock you down, like 111. And like I said, didn't do it quick enough. Oh. What am I doing? You've got to do it quicker. Can you see? So yeah, be very, very careful basically. If he amplifies Spirit of Kiba, it has an attack of armor, and that works against projectiles as well. So yeah, that's an interesting mechanic of that move. Also, lastly in this variation, he has this, which is Rising Tomahawk. He won't be doing this to you in neutral, because it's a bit random just to do in neutral like that, but basically this is his main combo extender. But yeah, if he does something like this, and doesn't hit confirm into it, it's minus 18, super punishable. The only thing that you have to be careful of is he can amplify this on block as well. So if he does something like 111, he can, and that's an overhead as well. So be very careful. There is a big gap. You can punish it with a down one or a standing one, but just be very careful if you're pressing buttons, or you're just down blocking, because he can, as I've shown you, he can amplify on block, and it is overhead. But even though overhead is minus 15, so that's very punishable. So yeah, those are his combo. Those are his moves in this variation, and then now we will go to the Ancestral Gift variation, where he has a couple of unique strings, and his special moves obviously are different. So, in this variation, the main differences are these two strings. So, if I just show you what they are on block, and then I'll show you what they do. Oh, or not. So you've got, so instead of 2-2-2, you've got 2-2-1-3, which is this little tackle. And he hits you for 150. So quite a lot of meterless damage, to be fair. This is quite a good punish. 16%, more than a throw, so that's pretty good. And also, if he hits you on a counter hit with it, as you can see, it does 212, and a dot, as you can see, your life bar ticking down. So that did about 300 damage with the crushing blow. Obviously, you're on 1,000, so it did 300 damage all in all. So be very careful if he hits you with a counter hit on this. That'll be his main. He can probably use it as a combo ender, or he can definitely use it, because obviously it's a 9-frame startup punish, so he can punish anything that's -9, so be very careful if you're up against that. Also, he can do another punish, well, he's got another string rather, which is this one, which is back 3 4 1 3, and this is obviously 11 frames. You see it does 200 damage. This doesn't have a counter hit, so you don't have to worry about any special properties, but if he hits you with that, that's 200 damage, meterless, and he gets the side switch. So, yeah, just be very careful of both of these strings, but if you see, they're not like normal hit, on-hit moves. They're actually both super punishable. So -14 for 2-2-1-3, and then back 3-4, 1-3 is -10. So you can punish absolutely both of those. So, and they're both mids as well. So you can't duck them, but just make sure if he tries to confirm into them that you punish. So those are specific to the Ancestral Gift variation. He won't be doing that to you, either of those to you in the Makota Warrior variation. The other two, so these are the moves specific to Ancestral Gift. So you see he's got the Reflect, but what he can do is, instead of just having the normal Reflect, he can now teleport. So this makes it much more terrifying. At the cost of a bar, he can teleport. But he doesn't actually need to reflect anything at you to teleport. So be careful of that as well. So if we record the Warrior doing... See? So be careful because he can get a full... He can actually get a full punish. I was trying to do the Tomahawk. I forgot it's not the right spec. Oh. So, yeah, be very, very careful. Against the Ancestral Spirit variation, he can teleport. Boom. Counter hit. You've just eaten 300 damage. So again, that is specific to the Ancestral Gift variation, that he can teleport, and also if he actually hits you with a projectile, he can even combo into the projectile that he's reflected. So just be very, very careful of this variation and the teleport ability. As I said, it does cost 1 offensive meter, but it's a very useful tool. Yeah, it is possible, yeah. So, yeah, so it's completely possible to reflect and teleport. So, let's see if I can do it. Just quickly. I'll just try it a couple of times. Oops. See, that was 3 hits. So I reflected his bug at him, and then I comboed it into my own combo. So just, yeah, be very, very careful when he's got meter, because he can do... Because in this variation, he doesn't have massive combos, so he probably will be using his meter for the reflects and the teleports. So be very, very careful if he has a meter and you're going to try and throw a projectile at him, because he can combo, as you can see, from the reflected teleport. And then lastly, in this variation, but by no means leastly, he's got this as a command grab. As you can see, it's pretty graphic. He knocks you down, so he's got 16 frames. So how much damage does it do? It should do 120, right? Usually command damage is 120. So yeah, it does 120, but he can meter burn it. And if he meter burns it, it does 150. And if you notice, the animation is a bit different. So if you get hit with the non-meter burn version, he knocks you down, and then you have 16 frames of recovery, right? But if he knocks you with the meter burn version, you'll see that he actually has more frames, 70 frames of hit advantage. So it goes from 19 to 70. Basically what that means is he's got much more opportunity to dash up to you, maybe hit you with a forward throw, maybe dash up to you again and do another command throw. If you think he's going to do that and you duck, he can hit you with, you know, one of these mids that does a lot of damage. So yeah, be very careful if you get hit with the amplified one. Again, this is probably used, well, obviously it can be used in neutral off a tick throw, but also it can be used, you know, he can just dash up to you, he can do it after a reflect teleport. Yeah, very useful ability. However, the key downfall of it is that it is a high. So you can duck it and full punish. So if we switch off block, you see, it is completely... See, that was me hitting a down one. So if you get hit with a down one and you think he's going to command throw you afterwards, if you just hold duck instead of duck block, he will actually miss the command throw, and then you can probably down to him, or, you know, get a full punish like that. So a very useful move, obviously, especially with the reflect to close the distance, but it is a high. So don't let him get away with just doing that over and over again, because you can punish it with a low poke or with an uppercut. Yeah, I know, I thought the same thing. And it switches sides, much like Kotor's, so he might not be doing it on you in the corner, because then he's going to want to it will make him switch sides, but that'll be just specific to who you're playing. Just very lastly, which is something I don't usually do, but it's something I think is quite important against Nightwolf. If we switch to player 2 and then do get up attack, eviction kick, you'll see Nightwolf, his wake up attack, so this is his invincible wake up, you see has very low range. So you can bait that out into a, you know, if you think they're going to do it. I mean, look how far away I am. So that's how close it is to hit you. You do not need to be far away at all for that not to hit you. Just a little step back and it misses. So yeah, and it's the same for his it's the same for his launcher as well. Oh, wasn't ready for that. See? It actually goes through my head. Can you see? It's a bit of a, I think it's a bit of a bugged up to. So that's his launching reversal. However, it's the same as his uppercut. So his uppercut hits him from quite far away, but you'll see that that actually just passes straight through Devora's face. So I think there might be a little hitbox bug with that. But the point is, his reversal game is very weak. So you can bait out both of those and get full combo punishes. See, punish. I mean, Devora's got long range anyway, but you can punish it from quite close. So yeah, Nightwolf has a terrible. Yeah, no, it has to be a hitbox mistake, but it's in the game for now. So make sure that you take advantage of that if you think that he's going to do a. If he's going to do anything on wake up. Look, it just goes straight through my head. And lastly, that works in a very similar way to his fatal blow. So if we show his fatal blow. You'll see the range is trash. So if he's got fatal blow, you think he's going to do wake up fatal blow, you'll definitely be able to bait that out and full punish it, because he actually takes a step back. So it's very good at anti-airing, so don't jump on it, because if you can see, the bear goes up to the top of. So the way that it works is the animation. You see like the little sparks that come out of the animal's mouths. That's the hitbox for the move. So if you can see how high the bear is, it's really, really good as an anti-air fatal blow, because the hitbox works quite high vertically. However, it's not very good horizontally. As you can see, the range is trash. So yeah, that would be his biggest weakness, basically. His wake-up game and his fatal blows are pretty below standard, but he probably, at a high level, you probably won't be seeing many people use those moves. Well, fatal blow, obviously, but they'll probably be saving the meter if they're Ancestral Gift for the teleport, or if they're Makota Warrior for the launch. So yeah, that's Nightwolf. I think ultimately quite a solid character. I don't think he's broken like top tier. With Kiba buffs, he can do quite a lot of damage, and he does have a meterless launcher, which I can't do right now in the corner. So he can do a fair amount of damage, and his stagger game is pretty strong. But as you can see, he does struggle a little bit range-wise. He's got some of his normals are a bit stubby, like standing 3. Standing 1's okay. Standing 2's a bit stubby. So yeah, if you're going to fight against him, my main advice, as I said to you previously in the video, my main advice is to block high. As I said, he's got quite a few overheads that can catch you out if you're not paying attention. And also, if he does finish off strings, as you can see, a lot of them have gaps, or if they don't have gaps, they're unsafe. So be wary of the stagger pressure, be wary of the good lows, and make sure you punch. All of his special moves are punishable, nothing is plus. But be wary of the reflector in Ancestral Gift, and the meter burn armor move in the meter burn damage buff in Makota Warrior. But yeah, really solid character. I'm really, really happy he's out. I'll be maining him from now on. You're going to see a lot more Nightwolf ranked videos. I've been playing quite a lot today, so I've got a couple of good videos that I can put up. But yeah, that's all from me for this video. If you like it, give me a like and a subscribe. Check out the rest of the videos. I've got every character in How to Punish at the moment. Some of them will need updating, but for the most part, they hold true, especially for the top tier characters, in terms of punishing their frame data wise. As far as I'm aware, none of them have been nerfed massively. Aaron Black has, but we'll get into that afterwards. That'll be a separate issue. Yeah, follow me on Twitter at SodiumJim for updates on the stream and stuff. Follow me on my Twitch. As I said, I'm recording some on my Twitch. You can see the chat, which is also SodiumJim. And yeah, hit me a like and subscribe, and I'll be back with all the characters with how to punish us eventually, but also with other guides, tips and stuff. Maybe I'll do a Nightwolf combo video or something. So yeah, thank you very much for watching. Have a lovely day, and always remember to stay salty. Take care, everyone.